Sarah, do you want to start the conversation?
Definitely. I'll just share. Good afternoon, everybody. Good to be back. And again, my job is to kick off this show.
Got a very important job.
Yeah, Lee want me to do that every day. So
She's the one opened the curtain, so
yeah. So we to make sure that we have plenty of time for our guests, I'm going to go very quickly, sharing about just introduce myself very quickly. I'm Sarah M. I grew up in Cambodia. I I had this misfortune in my life that I lived through the time that the communists took over our country when I was in college. And when they came in, they turned our life upside down and just basically destroyed our country. I struggled to survive, and thank goodness I make it. I make it through. That's why I'm here, right? So
yeah.
um, I credit to that second chance, to my love for my family, my God's blessing in protecting me, and also the resilience that I have built in me that I didn't even know until now that I realized that, you know, if I didn't have resiliency, I did not make it. I would probably disappear. So that's why we are talking about resilience. So I'm so grateful that I was able to escape out of the captivity and finally escape out of the country, and I'm here now. So um, just want to let you know I wrote my story in the book. It's called How I Survived the Killing Fields, and it's available on my website. It's sarahim.com. And right now I'm an inspirational speaker. Now that I have my second chance, I want to take it seriously. I want to use it to inspire other people. So that's all I want to share. Back to you, Lee.
Beautiful. And she is going off script today. Woohoo! I know. I'm the spontaneous one, and Sarah is very regimented. She would, going on exactly how she presented, and I love it, the consistency. I don't have that consistency. I'm jumping all over. So yeah, it's nice that she's taking a little risk and go off the script. Yeah, I think people are listening to us. I can't even count how many days. It's been probably 100 and something days now, because we are approaching. Tomorrow is going to be our 1 year anniversary from starting up this conversation, which hundred of times ago that we are saying the same thing. If you have been with us for that long, I thank you for listening to us singing the same song pretty much every day. But if you are new, then that is the story that both of us from refugee background. And Sarah's come from Cambodia and I came from Vietnam. We're both authors, we're both speakers, and we both want to inspire people with our own trauma, our own story, our own survival skills, our own second chance, our gratitude, and our appreciation for life. And we don't want to take that lightly. We want to share that, and we want to encouraging people to come on here to show their bravery, be vulnerable, and share their stories so other people can learn from them. So today we have Elly. Elly has told me that she has been through a very difficult time in her life, and it was ongoing. So I'm gonna let Elly tell us who Elly is,
Oh,
and and what is her resiliency? What's your story, and why do you think that having that strength, being resilient, bring you to where you are? And Ellie's also a speaker, and she's doing a lot of speaking in Toastmaster, outside Toastmaster. So kudos to you, Ellie, for using your inner strength to keep going. So if you could just tell us who you are and what's your story.
Okay, first of all, thank you for that. I want to congratulate you first before I forget on your upcoming 1 year anniversary. That's a great accomplishment, and thank you for having me on this show. I really appreciate it. I just want to correct you. I'm not a speaker outside per se yet. I have done one or two like speeches, but I'm working towards it.
Ellie,
So
speaker is speaker. You don't have to
okay,
explain. You are speaker.
all right. So, yeah, essentially, I kind of have two stories, one story within another. And I grew up actually um, as a third middle child, third female growing up, and then two older sisters, two younger brothers. And there was this sadness and this restlessness that just stayed with me for the longest time. And it was very profound. Like it just permeated my whole being and my whole life. And it wasn't until my late teens, actually, that my mom informed me that I was a twin. And I was like, I
Wow.
was shocked. It was like, I don't know if I connected the dots at that time,
Hmm.
but definitely at some point I did. It was like, well, that's why I felt this intense grief, this intense sadness, like because I always felt like something was missing.
Mm.
And I would even
Wow.
describe it as I felt like a piece of me was missing. So,
How about that?
yeah, and there's been many impacts on my life, some not so good and some funny. Like I used to collect two of things. I'd buy two items. It was weird, but
Mm.
anyway. Um, and partly because of this situation, and questioning God at one point in my life, like why did I live, and why did my twin die, or why couldn't we both live, or why couldn't we both die? Those kind of questions. I was really angry and upset, to put it mildly. I was shouting at God literally when I used to commune in nature, taking long walks, because I wanted to know the purpose of life. Why was I here? Why was I on planet Earth without my twin? I didn't want to be here. I wanted to die, and I wanted to die so badly. I know that if I had the guts, I would have killed myself. No question. I know that. However, I think something, maybe my twin, my guardian angel, I think, I don't know, has kept me here alive today. And I've actually, I don't know if you believe this, but I actually believe that I created circumstances in my life. I think the Bible has a passage in this, and I don't know what it is, I'm sorry. But it's like I attracted not one, but two men in my life who were willing, able, and capable of killing me and almost did. And these were no strangers, these were ex-boyfriends. And it happened about a 10-year difference. So one time in my early 20s and one time in my early 30s. And it wasn't until I was sitting in, how much should I be sharing, by the way? My
Well,
whole
we have 20 more minutes.
okay. So anyway, I was, long story short, I was sitting in a counseling class, and we were charting our lifeline and the highs and the lows. And when I charted those two incidents, it was like another, like, wow, I
Mm.
got it. I understood why that happened to me. And from that point, it was basically my life's greatest lesson.
Mm.
You want to know what it is, or should I be?
Yes, yes, please. Yeah, this is
Okay.
what we want to do. Learning from our own. What's the aha, and what drive us to go on, and that's the lesson is the most important things that we want to hear.
Yeah. Well, before I answer it completely, let me just back up a little bit. When I grew up, I was a little bit overweight, not a lot, maybe 5, 10 pounds, but I had a little bit of a belly. And I felt very self-conscious and I hated my hair and I hated my voice. I kid you not, my voice was monotone growing up. I'm going to see if I can imitate it. It was like I kind of spoke like this and it was all depressing and sad and I hated the world and
You have
everything.
changed it completely. You
Yeah.
have changed it completely.
So that's how depressed I was.
Mm.
I've never been on medication for it. I sensed I never wanted to, because I wanted to be true to myself. And I also felt that was one thing. So that's kind of a part of a resiliency, I think.
Mm.
And also, and I didn't want the side effects of any medication, but also because I felt like depression, yes, for me, even though it was pretty, not, I don't know, severe, like I definitely had suicidal ideation where you think about suicide. Um, but I didn't have, believe it takes courage to kill yourself. And I felt like I didn't have the guts to do that. So there's a piece that I'm missing here. What was it? Um, uh, sorry.
That's
Lost my
okay. If you want, I can
track.
ask you a couple questions. It's like in your story.
Sure, I
So
didn't answer the question though.
first of
The base,
all,
yeah.
you didn't know about you have a twin that who died until you said teenager.
Yeah, I think I was 19, 18, 19. Yeah.
So is there a reason why your mom would tell you after all those years?
That's a really good question. And I don't know. I'm gonna actually I think I was 18 because I moved out when I was 18. So I'm gonna guess it was just before then.
Mm.
She probably just wanted me to know the truth. I really don't know. I never actually asked that question. It's a good question.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that a lot of twin, and is that like identical twin, or is that
You know
because
what? I don't know. And the
okay,
interesting thing is I just found out was it 20 I'm sorry, I'm getting my years mixed up because of last year. I think it was 2020 last year, August, or the year before. I have to check. My cousin contacted me through Facebook, befriended me, and I don't even know how the conversation started, but I asked him if he could find any information on my twin, because I was trying to find birth and death records. Apparently, the hospital I think that I was not born at, was delivered to, didn't exist anymore.
oh,
So it was really hard to find it. And he gave it to me. And when I looked at my message, I got really emotional because
mm,
I found out, well, first that there was no death time, which really bothered me. But apparently she died the same day that we were born,
mm,
January 10, 1960. And she was apparently, how did they put it, non-gendered. So I
mm,
always refer to her as my twin sister because my
wow,
mom named her Louise,
okay,
and also because of what I've learned interviewing another twin who didn't know she was a twin until she was 50. Can you imagine?
wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes maybe not knowing is probably good, but I think you have that intuition feeling, and I think that a lot of time I'm not a twin, but I'm always love to have a twin to have a. It's almost like looking at the mirror, right? But I know that a lot of twins they say they really have that connection, even without talking. They can feel one from the other. It's like the energy is almost like you're splitting cells, and you have that intuition of whatever the other one is thinking. So it's just interesting to hear that you had a feeling that something, a part of you was missing all those years,
Yeah.
and be able to confirm by your mom. Is your mom still alive?
She is. She just turned, I have to think, I think 92.
Okay.
My
I
dad's a
mean,
few
for
years
me,
younger.
it was
Yeah.
for me, I would probably bombard her with all questions.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was just me. I'm a curious one, but yeah, sometimes I guess knowing is probably shock you, and then make you probably want to know more about it, and then now I hope that is a process of healing. That's
Hmm.
how you'll be able to talk about it. Is
Yeah,
it? Are
actually,
you getting over that? yet? I mean, in a sense.
Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, it wasn't until I was 34, I was in a particular workshop. It was a retreat, and I had this whole room to myself, and there was four beds. And spontaneously, I couldn't sleep, and spontaneously, I just created. It was really weird, but I, you, I used almost everything I had, and I created a three-dimensional collage. So basically, from the bed down to the floor and around me. And I realized, and there was like a mix of like papers and coins and jewelry and clothing. And I think I brought my rain stick and, all kinds of things. And I, I need to keep a journal. I had really interesting insights from that experience. But the one thing that really struck me was when I looked kind of in the middle part of it, there was a picture card of an angel.
Mm.
And that spoke to me. To me, it was like, that's the reason why I'm alive
Yeah.
after three almost near death incidents. That's what I call them. One close to birth, because we were delivered at home and we
Oh,
were rushed to the
wow.
hospital. And I was born 2 months prematurely, by the way. Um, and sorry, I lost my train of thought again. Oh, I'm sorry. Um,
Okay.
what was I saying?
Three near death experience.
Say that again.
So you have three. Yeah, you have three. But you were talking about the connection with your twin.
Yeah,
When you
sorry.
were,
So I felt like she was my guardian angel and she was keeping me alive. And again, that may or may not be true. That was just my belief. So,
I think she's
yeah.
part of you. I mean, I think that she is
Hmm.
lingering around. I mean, living in your life, in a sense that I don't know. I mean, I have a very strong intuition too,
Hmm.
and sometimes I think being born as a Buddhist, we think a lot of spiritual stuff. Are
Hmm.
you, Sarah? I mean, you Buddhist too, right, Sarah?
I was
Okay, okay.
long time ago. Yeah.
Right, right. And I know watching my mom, there's a lot of spiritual things that between the death and the alive and the strong connection. But
Yeah.
I seriously think that your resiliency is probably part of that. She is living through you. Um, I don't know. That's how I see it. It could be wrong, but
Yeah, I don't know about that per se, but let me share an interesting experience, which maybe is part of the path, this journey of resiliency. And by the way, that collage, that was the first time that I accepted her death.
mm,
So from then the healing journey began and I started doing all sorts of things to heal myself from the grief. Um, but in my, I guess 20s, I don't know exactly when it started, but I believe it was in my 20s. All of a sudden, I noticed that I was starting a collection and it was a collection of heart-shaped objects. And it was like, wow. And I didn't put anything together until many years later, actually. It was like, because then I would notice it out in nature. In fact, I have an Instagram account where I post a lot of not only flowers, but a lot of heart shapes
mm,
that I see. I see heart shapes practically every day, sometimes multiple times a day.
mm,
And and there's other people too who have that, and I don't know, I haven't done a survey or asked them all, but I'm kind of curious, are the people who see hearts the ones who have lost a loved one? Possibly, I
mm,
don't know, I'm kind of curious, but I'm wondering about that. Like, to me, it's kind of like, I think that's maybe possibly her speaking through God, or maybe just a sign from God saying, Ellie, you're not alone, you're loved, something along that line. So I think that helps to make me more resilient too. I think
yeah.
you need resiliency in life. I mean, life is hard, it's challenging. I mean, this is going to sound maybe really weird, but growing up, I had a fascination about life after death, and I read all these books. and I can't think of the authors' names right now, but they're popular books. And I actually even heard two speakers at live in person who had near-death experiences, and I wanted a near-death experience so
Mm.
badly, and I wanted to be on that side. I wanted to be there, wherever, right? Um, I don't wish the near-death experience anymore, like an actual one where you actually die and come back, though it would be interesting to have, but I don't want to go through the trauma, the accident, whatever might cause that, right?
Yeah.
Um, However, the only reason why I want to be on this planet is to live my purpose. And I'm still striving for that because I have two main thoughts in my head about that. So, one is my memoir that I want to share with others who might relate to my situation or know someone who does,
Yeah.
and speak about that in my lessons, including my life's greatest lesson, which I still haven't shared yet here. And then I have something else that came to me, a 3 a.m. inspiration, and like basically download of
Mm.
information that and other nights. So I'm not quite sure. I might do both. I haven't quite decided. So yeah.
I find it pretty interesting that you said earlier when you say that you feel like a part of you were missing all along, but everything you buy double. You almost like have
I
that
used to.
feeling. Yeah, I mean, at that, before you found out you have a twin, I guess. You found out you lost
No,
your twin
it was actually after.
after. Okay,
Yeah,
all right, so that makes sense.
but I didn't do it purposely. It was almost like a subconscious thing. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean?
okay.
It was like, well, I don't even know. It was like I was driven to like, well, I like this, but I like that one too. Or, I'm gonna have that as a backup,
Mm.
that kind of thing.
Well, actually, I do a lot of that too. Like if I like a
I'm just
blouse,
bad.
I would buy every single color there is because I'm
Yeah.
petite, and it's really hard to find any blouse that they can fit right. So I would buy not just two, but I would buy a rainbow of colors. But that's different than you, and you just want to have the same identical one for the next one. But anyhow, I just thought it's fascinating that your grief period um, after that, to the point that you just want to experience what the other side of the living is. And I'm glad that you get out of it. And I think healing
Hmm.
is part of talking. And you said you are writing a memoir?
Yeah, I started about, gosh, what year is it? About 6 years ago, January. The title, part of the title, I think, came to me because I sometimes get words intuitively. And yeah, I'm starting to write again because I was blocked and life just handed me, one distraction after another. So I'm starting to write again. Yeah.
I
Mm.
think it's very therapeutic to write. Ask
Hmm.
Sarah and ask me. We know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, actually, I wrote a piece yesterday, and it's interesting. Even though I know I've come to accept my twin's death, and I'm okay with it, and I'm happy to be live now, it's interesting because there's still like little pieces, right? I think there's layers, like an onion, right? You're peeling layers, and there's still a little bit of residue there. Where sometimes I write, and the tears will come. That happened to me yesterday or the day before. I just started writing again Sunday. So yeah, it's really interesting.
it,
But mhm,
it is a healing process.
yeah.
So when did you feel that your depression start to ease up?
Oh, that's a good question. Thanks for asking that. Two things. One is when I created the collage, like I said, when I finally accepted my twin's death. But I also had what I call a spiritual awakening, and I knew it intuitively. I didn't. I just knew it. I can't explain it. And it happened 2 days before January 1st. So it would have been December, gosh, I should know this, December 30th, 1992. So I was 32 then. And the best way I can explain it is like this. It was like my life opened up,
Mm.
and I was just like my awareness just opened up, and it was like I knew things intuitively. I could have written that book that Eckhart Tolle wrote about the key to happiness. I knew exactly what it was in that moment, and it was so simple.
Mhm.
And I just You know, I find it hard to write about spiritual experiences because I find them so sacred. And it's hard to put them into words. And yet I wish I kept a
Yeah.
journal, but I did blog about it actually. But that changed my life, where my life just opened up. And it was like 33 was the best year of my life, which is kind of ironic when I think about that's the year that Jesus
Yeah.
Christ died, right?
Yeah.
So but it was really interesting. It just like I just blossomed that year, and I was courageous, and I got my driver's license, and all sorts of things. It was just amazing. So yeah.
Found your inner strength by
Mm-hmm.
doing so. I think
Yeah.
that sometimes open up the wound is actually make it heal better. I know my dad
Mm.
passed away 30 some years, and when I wrote that memoir, it took me 3 months of getting out of that blue zones because it was hard to go back. But you have to go back
Yeah.
in order to be vulnerable to write the story. So I think memoir writing is a process of healing.
Mm.
Talking right now is part of the healing too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Talk therapy for sure. I find that if I get sad, angry, depressed, whatever, because I occasionally do get depressed,
Right.
uh, but it's not as long. It's like, a day or something. I had a bad episode actually uh, about 3 weeks ago, and it was triggered by someone. And I'm not going to go into that, but it was not good. So I do have my moments, but it just last day, and it's like, okay, who do I talk to? And it's like, okay, I'm going to call my parents. Mom, Dad, can you pray for me? This is what's
Right.
happening, kind of thing. So I believe in the power of prayer, and yeah, I had another thought, and it just disappeared. It might come back. That's my mind just thinks like that, you
That's
know.
okay. I think we all have that moment. Those but what I'm saying is like, if our audience are listening, um, don't feel like you have to close everything by yourself. Find
Mm,
someone to talk to
all
because
right,
talking is really therapeutic,
for
and
sure.
then you don't feel like you're so alone anymore.
That's
I
so true.
I think
Yeah.
the depression part, the part that we feel like we're lonely because we think that we are the only one who's suffering that. But we all have different kind of suffering. I mean, the degree might not be the same between crossing the jungle or crossing the oceans or losing a loved one at birth. But the
Mm-hmm.
pain is still the pain.
Yeah.
It's the same suffering. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's why we have people here to share with us the most painful, and then how they get out, and what is their aha moment that they can use that strength to move on. So I think for our talk today is, don't keep it a secret. Find some friends and talk about it. Somebody that you're close to and talk about it and talk it out. And it's gonna be really hard at first, but then as you start open up, things might be a little easier each time. So what are you doing now as part of the thriving part, that you get over the suicidal thought, over the part that want to experience the other side? Do you have any like long-term goals or short-term goals that you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, sure. I think this past year I have purposely worked on myself in terms of keeping my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health as intact and as healthy as possible. I think no matter the circumstances, depression or not, and I wasn't depressed, but there were some times when I would go out for walks and I would literally burst into tears. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew that those weren't my tears. Those were the tears of the collective consciousness. And some people might dismiss that and not understand. I understand because I used to be come from a religious background. So, um, but I know that it's really important to take care of ourself. And so I've been doing a video series. It's not the greatest, but it's a way for me to learn to get comfortable in front of the camera. Because to be honest, I'm not,
You're
I don't
doing
love the camera
spectacular right
normally, but
now.
I'm getting more comfortable. So I'm glad I've had a lot of practice before this. Yeah. So basically writing my memoir, that's a huge thing. I'd like to speak to audiences about that and the lessons that I learned, as well as sharing my healing journey, because that's part of my memoir as well, for sure. It's maybe about half or more of my memoir. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
And then what else? I'm considering doing coaching, maybe group or one-on-one. I haven't quite decided. Maybe bereavement. I don't
Hmm.
want to say counseling. I don't want to. I'm not a counselor. I don't want to be a counselor, but I do. I have done coaching before, not in terms of grief and bereavement, but that's something I'm thinking of doing. And let's see from there. I'm not quite sure. So I don't have a website at the moment, but if you are interested in contacting me, I don't know, how does that work, Lee? Do I
Oh,
do
you
my
can,
email?
yeah, you friend in our group, and people can want to reach out to you.
Um,
They can private message you if you want to exchange phone number or whatnot.
I see.
Yeah, or you just put your Facebook connection, and if anybody want to connect with you. But
Can I just, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, Facebook connection. Okay, that's great. Thank you. I was just thinking that it's really important these times to be as positive as possible, because it's really easy. Like, I live alone, and so I have to make more of an effort to get out. And I purposely go for walks every day, at least once, if not 2 or 3 times. I go out in nature, really important to connect with flowers, trees. Sometimes I hug trees. I actually hunt for dogs so I can pet them. I always ask the owners to get my
That's good.
oxytocin fix, get my oxytocin fix, right? And I avoid the news, because the news is
Hmm.
extremely hard on our mental, emotional, actually everything, I think, physical and spiritual being, really hard. If I need to hear something, I'll find out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very intuitive, and I mean, I'm not always intuitive, but I would hope that if things come to worse, that I will be prepared, right? And I take the as many measures as I can to prepare myself and to do what I need to do during these times. So yeah,
Yeah, so enjoy the
yeah,
moment, right? I mean, it's like the
yeah.
moment's gone, it's gone. So, yeah, connecting with nature is good.
Mm-hmm.
Connecting with friends through like this is good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that I got to know you for the past couple months, watching you doing the videos, and get to know each other quite a little bit. So that's nice, and you always come up with the topic of self health, and it's so critical now, especially we're still not out of the wood just yet with the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Yeah, self-care. And yeah, and it was great to meet you and get to know you. I'm actually reading your memoir, and I haven't read as much as I wanted to, but I'm finding it a very fascinating journey. It's like, wow,
Oh,
been
thank
through a
you.
lot. And Sarah, I'd like to read yours one day too. So I think amazing. I mean, obviously you ladies have resilience to come through those
We all
circumstances.
have it. It's in our
Yeah,
nature. I mean, you just have to know where to use it and take it out and use it. I think
yeah.
we all have it. Every single one of you out there, you all have it in your pocket. You just have to reach in and take it out and say, "This is the time I'm using it."
Yeah,
And
for me, I think when people have a
Hmm.
purpose in their life,
mhm,
they will bring out their own resiliency. But if you don't have a purpose, if you already give up your hope, I don't think you can tap into resiliency.
yeah.
Resiliency is when you have something to look forward to work
Hmm.
to, that's where your resiliency is coming very handy.
I
It's a
think that's
higher
a really
calling.
good point.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, that's really
A
well
higher
said, Sarah.
calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, need to tap into. Yep,
Mm.
all of that. I just coached somebody right before we got on, and we were talking about purpose. It's like gotta zoom in and find that purpose, because it's so important to have a purpose in life, or else
Yes.
it's just mundane. Day after day doesn't mean anything. So yeah, and our purpose of the show here is to encouraging people not to stay down, to get
Mm.
up. We all have bad days, and we all have bad moments and have bad circumstances, but you keep getting up, you start moving, you start going places.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for sharing your story, and it's just so nice to get to know you a little more. And I'm so glad that you got over that. The grieving is you're never gonna be completely gone, but it's gonna get easier and easier every time you talk about it.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that with us and with our audience. And enjoy your Wednesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so middle of the week, and enjoy the moment.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies, for having me. I really appreciate you, and I wish you continued success with your show. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
and
So
happy anniversary, Sarah. Tomorrow is our day, but we won't see you until Friday and
Thursday.
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 Sorry, yeah. I'm jumping ahead. I'm thinking Friday already. That's my favorite day. Sarah knows
Yeah.
that.
This week we can celebrate the whole week. Uh,
Exactly. And
uh,
we intend to celebrate over because uh, we don't know what we're going to do yet, but we're just going to keep on celebrating. That's what important. So,
yeah, we are too tired to plan anything right now.
Oh no. I think it's important to celebrate.
yeah, we will. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about celebration. And we might even bring a glass of bubble and toast it one day. But
How many speakers do you have per week? Is it 3?
Three, three.
right now,
So
yeah, since January, we toned down to 3 a week. We used to do all 5 days, and then we only have guests for 3 days, and then one day Sarah will lead the topic, and one day I will lead the topic.
yeah.
But
Well, what
before,
I was thinking of is if you gathered all the people who were on your show and had a Zoom party or something.
absolutely, we
I don't
thought
know.
about that. We talked about that, but it's just the energy of gathering. That's another
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're happy to just share our story and people's story, and we hope that people keep coming back and listen to it and get inspired by it.